Janet Mills, who is the governor of Maine, a couple of months ago, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but she was in that meeting at the White House. It was a governor's meeting, so all 50 governors came to the White House. Donald Trump is sitting at a desk, like he's some kind of professor, and all of the rest of the governors are in the audience sitting at little desks of their own. And he says that the collegiate sports body has agreed with Donald Trump about making sure that no more trans people are playing in any kind of collegiate sport or high school sport or whatever. And he's like, everybody's agreed to this except for, hey, is the governor of Maine here? And she's over here going, yep, that's me. He goes, you're not going to comply to this? And she's like, I'm going to follow the state and federal government, their rules on this. He's like, I'm the government. I'm the government. No, you're not the government. You're the president of the United States. You don't represent the entire government. But anyway, just straight fuck you from me to you, but whatever. She said fuck you in a much more polite way. He goes, you better do it. And she said, I'll see you in court. He goes, oh, that's great. I'll see you in court. It'll be an easy victory. Well, guess what? Trump lost. Got his ass handed to him. He went after them over this, the having trans athletes under Title IX, which was, at the time, it was, of his creation decades ago, was to actually protect women's sports and make sure that it was funded properly. Because men's sports gets funded, to the high heavens, and women's sports, not so much. If you've ever seen, I saw this really interesting. They were doing the college basketball championship, the NCAA basketball championships, and they had women's teams and men's teams. And if you go to the men's locker room, it's just completely just packed full of exercise equipment and all the appointments, and it looks like a cathedral for athletes. And then you go to the women's side, and it's like a set of free weights and and a rack of towels, and that's it. So it's not like Title IX was doing a really great job, but Donald Trump tried to sue the state of Maine over Title IX to get the trans people out of, any college in Maine. Well, here's the thing, folks. You know how many trans athletes are in Maine? 2. Let that sink in, folks. 2 people. There are 170,000 students in Maine schools. And his threat, Donald Trump's threat to her, was that I'm going to take away any kind of federal funding for food and lunches for your 170,000 students over these 2 trans students. And here's the thing. People like Gretchen Whitmer of Illinois, who basically went to the White House and kissed his ass and then gave a little speech in front of him, or people like Elise Slotnick, who are saying stuff like, oh, I'm standing up to Trump, but maybe we shouldn't stand that hard. Or Gavin Newsom, who is just basically drank the MAGA Kool-Aid and is doing interviews on his podcast. I thought you were a fucking governor, man. Don't you have something to do? No, you're going to do a podcast and you're going to bring on nothing but right-wingers? That's a great idea. Genius fucking idea. I remember when he was interviewed and they asked him about Abrego Garcia, and he goes, don't take the bait. Let's just stay focused on the economy. Look, dog, America's already focused on the economy. When the store shelves get empty, I don't think you're going to need a Democratic politician to remind you that this is Donald Trump's problem. They're going to know it. But you keep your powder dry over, the illegal immigration policy of the Trump regime, and you're keeping your powder dry saying, let's not talk about that. Meanwhile, you could be really raking his ass over the coals. But no. Let's have an interview with Steve Bannon. Let's bring Charlie Kirk onto my podcast and say to Charlie Kirk, well, my son loves you. Well, that tells me that you're a shitty fucking dad if your son is watching Charlie fucking Kirk. God damn, man. And that is the heir apparent for the president in 2028, Gavin Newsom. Oh, you can go ahead and fuck all the way off, Gav. Jesus Christ. So when I see Janet Mills, the governor of Maine, standing up for the least of us, 2 trans students, if you cannot stand up for the most marginalized group of people, what is what's the point? What are you doing? Why are you even in public office? If you cannot stand up for the smallest group, the one that, by the way, was one of the first groups gone after by the Nazis. Yeah, that's right. He went after the Gay and Trans Center, all the research center there, because it was a small, marginalized group that did not have a lot of people that would stand behind them. So he cooked them fools. He burned that place to the fucking ground, quite literally, and made them wear little pink triangles. And they were one of the first people to get on the on the trains to fucking Auschwitz. If you cannot stand up for the least of us, I remember watching people like Slotnick, like Newsom, like Gretchen Whitmer, who are saying stuff like, maybe we went a little too far with trans rights and stuff, maybe we should just give the Republicans that one, just lay off of it a little bit. That is nothing but weakness. Absolute weakness. And when you've got somebody who is leading the Democrats in the Senate, Chuck Schumer, giving us somebody like Slotnick, who is saying, let's not call out the billionaire class. Let's call out just Trump. Let's just stick with Trump and call him a king. And let's not worry about all the other rich people who are giving me money and I like the money and stuff like that. When Chuck Schumer is saying that person is the new leader, when he says that John Fetterman, who has lost his fucking mind, is a Democratic star, you are not doing the Democrats any favors. That's why the Democrats are even lower in the polls than the fucking Republicans. Donald Trump's polls are in the toilet, but man, they're a shit ton better than what the Democratic polls are. The only people that have got good polling are the people who are fighting. Bernie Sanders, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Maxwell Frost, Jasmine Crockett. Those people are actually fighting, and they're getting good small dollar donations, and they're actually making a difference. They're inspiring Americans. They're looking at them and going, wow, somebody's actually fighting for us. Let's get behind them. Leaders don't just get picked by Chuck Schumer. Leaders emerge. Leaders actually do fucking fighting. And if you are not fighting against this fascist robber baron coup of a fucking dictatorship, if you're not fighting against that, then you are part of the problem. So big, huge credit to Janet Mills for standing up to Donald Trump. Meanwhile, I got to mention, SCOTUS, Supreme Court, just upheld Donald Trump's trans military ban, which is going to affect, which means 4,200 soldiers. That's it. You're gone. I don't know what the breakdown of that is, whether they're male to female or female to male. Personally, I would think that it would probably be female to male soldiers, but I don't know. I don't know the breakdown to that. But I do know that the SCOTUS upheld, Trump's ban. So we need fighters, folks. We need people who are going to stand up against this coming onslaught, this fascist tidal wave that is hitting us from all sides. And we need people like Janet Mills. We need J.B. Pritzker, Governor J.B. Pritzker, who says, we need to fight against these oligarchs. We need to keep reminding the Americans what the actual issues are. It is not immigrants. It is not trans people that are ruining your life. The reason why groceries are up is not because I'm waving a trans flag. The reason why your rent is so goddamn high and your health care is unaffordable is not because an immigrant is picking tomatoes in a field. It is because billionaires have bought this fucking country. It is because the wealthy have absolute undue power in our political system. And unless we can wrestle that shit back, we are in for not just the end of democracy, but probably the end of our leadership in the world as it is today. Every other country is running away from us a mile a minute, and I don't blame them. We need fighters. So again, congratulations to Janet Mills. It's not over for her yet. He's still kind of after her, going after federal education funding. But she's already proven that she's going to say no to him. So, big ups. Big ups. Congratulations. You're a badass. Keep doing what you're doing. And, we need you. We really need you. Anyway, that's the show today. I hope that you have a wonderful, weekend. And I will catch you next time. Oh, by the way, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. I always feel a little humble about asking about it, but it would be great, and it doesn't cost you anything, and it would really help me out. So please like and subscribe, and I hope you have a great one. I'll catch you next time. Thanks. Bye. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.